Greetings. This is Arvette McLean with Speak, The Universe Listens. New ways to view age-old challenges. Change your thoughts, change your life. Step into the bigness of you.
Hey everybody!
Hey!
Oh my gosh, we so enjoyed having Zari on last week, and so we're having her on again today. Thank you for joining us, Zari St. Jean.
I am very happy to be here again.
So yes, chime in as you feel like it, and hopefully this will be like a fun episode.
Yeah, always. I'm sure. They're fun to watch, so.
So this week I was thinking about this topic, and it hit me because it was something that I struggled with for a long time, and still to this day sometimes I'll go back and forth with it, but like bringing your past experiences into your present moment, and I learned that just over time how that can hinder us in our growth, just trying to evolve into something new, or higher self. And I just wanted to talk about it. I thought that was something that we all can sort of touch on a little bit. So have you guys had like experiences as to where you're in your present moment, right? You're trying to move forward in life, but you continuously you're bringing the old baggage with you?
Yeah, so I had experiences where I've done things, but I realized that doing them now is so much different from doing them with the old me doing them. So just like the way I feel. So it could be things you didn't notice because you felt a certain way about yourself, but it's like, oh, I see this. Like, so you kind of hinder yourself from new experiences when you bringing in the old way you feel about yourself.
Yeah, and I think I'm kind of much aligned with that. I can actually think of a couple different occasions in different spheres of life that I've done that. Like I can think of like dealing with family members, and we're moving past something, but also at the same time I just keep holding on to whatever we're supposed to be moving past. So like I'm carrying on this random beef, but like we're supposed to be moving past that, like bringing an old feeling to that new experience. Also, like in the workplace, I know I can experience something like at one job, excuse me, and then also experience it somewhere else. And then I'll be like, oh, but like, I don't like that because when that happened over here, like it went left, and like, I ain't doing that this time. But it's like, these are completely different people. You're a completely different person. And like the feelings that I have on it now should also be completely different. And then lastly, in the romantic space, I've tried to do rituals like with the next person that I used to do with the old person, and like it ain't really the same. Like all of a sudden this restaurant, the food don't really taste as well because now all I keep thinking about is the last conversation I had here, or I hear a song and I'm like, yeah man, this used to be my song like when I was with such and such. But like you ain't need to know that. I just like this song, so like we're gonna play this song. But now every time I play it, I'm carrying that old feeling of, dang man, I wonder what Shawty doing right now. Like so.
Men's be like.
Like so, yes, I can say I've definitely brought. Okay, I feel like everybody does that. Like you bring old experiences to new places when you don't know that you need to be willing to create a new.
I want to chime on that because I specifically wanted to be here for this topic today when Arvette told me about it, because for one, as you guys know, if you've seen me in other podcasts, I'm a horticulturalist by day and night. It's one of my strongest passions. But my business is called Black Phoenix Gardens with a Z at the end. And it started with me being in my grandmother's backyard, trying to restart my garden all over because I had created this beautiful garden at my university. And then when I got to my grandmother's house, it was overrun with reeds. Like I literally had like a bedrock of like rocks at the bottom, and I realized like, man, I'm gonna have to take everything that I knew from there and start it over here. And that's kind of like the essence that I started to develop, where I started thinking about each season in gardening, or even in my life, is a chance for me to either take some of the things that I learned and take some of the mistakes that I made and learn from them and try again to see how much more progressive that I can be. How much more can I do? How much more can I plant? How much more space can I save? Just those kinds of things. But it's always like in a positive light of learning, like this is my new chance. And I take that with me when I think about anything. Like, this is my chance to just, okay, we got a new empty bed, what you gonna do? So maybe start with the foundation, make sure your soil's really good, make sure the roots are gonna have some help. Like, I think about those things in like a business aspect. But then I started trying to like apply them to my life and realizing like even, I think it's because like everybody always likes kind of wants to run from like the negative, run from the depression, you want to run from it. But sometimes if you like acknowledge why, like why am I feeling this way? Why am I attributing this song to this old person and this old feelings, and I want to jump back in their life and be nosy? No. No, thank you. You was an old weed. You was supposed to be in the compost bucket over there. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm just kidding. But thinking about it like that, and you know, it's nothing wrong with having those like nice feelings. And that's normally what you want to hold on to, what you want to bring with you, the positive. So it's not like it's negative because it's gone, but it was a positive thing when it happened. There's always a way to revive that.
And I'm actually going, I mean, I'm not going to say in this moment I'm going through this, but this has been something over the past month that I've been going through. Because I found myself in a situation where it was like my life wasn't my own. And my choices and decisions, they were basically I had to do certain things different from how I'm used to living my life. I'm used to doing whatever I want, when I want, the way I want to do it. And so that change pushed me back into the way I used to live my life. And I used to live my life where, you know, I was just in a place where I had to do this, I got to get this done, and I'm always on go. I don't have enough energy, I'm tired, exhausted, I'm a little frustrated, I'm not taking care of myself. That's kind of like a lifestyle that I've lived for a long time. And so coming faced with this situation, I brought all those feelings back in, and I was like just exhausted. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm working around the clock, I'm frustrated, I'm irritated, I'm, you know, short-tempered and everything. And then I was like, why am I telling myself this old story?
Bad self-talk.
I am connected to the source of all that exists. I have access to all the energy in the world. So why am I tired? There's no reason for me to be tired, right? So I can tap into that, I can access that. I'm a creator, so I can decide if this situation is gonna be something that's gonna hold me down, or if it's gonna be something that's gonna, you know, lift me up. And so I literally just flipped my thinking and my perception on everything that was happening. And I'm like, you know what? I'm actually blessed to be able to have this experience and to be able to be enjoyed while having this experience versus, oh my gosh, I'm just exhausted. So, you know, bringing the old into the new is exactly what I was doing. But at any moment, we can flip it on its head, and I flipped it. I just flipped it in a second. And I was like, why am I telling myself this old story? I just started telling myself a new story, and the whole situation just transformed.
I remember a time in my life like that too, when I felt like everybody was against me. Like I had this chip on my shoulder, like I gotta prove everyone wrong and things like that. And then one day I was just like, this ain't fun like this. Like,
I am not happy.
Like this not fun, and ain't nobody against me. Everybody love me. Like I had to change that story in my head, because I'm like, why am I adding all this unnecessary pressure on myself? Feeling like everybody against me and I gotta do it on my own, yada yada yada. And like you were saying, just that flip in thinking and me just realizing that's not what I want to, like, that's not the way I want to live.
Right.
And so I changed it.
I like what you said there, just piggyback off what you're saying, Rodney. For me, I remember my biggest thing was being the superhero for everybody. I'm putting everybody's needs and wants before my own. And for me, I'm just a good natured person. I mean, that's me as a person. I want to make sure people around me that I care about are in good health and everything is good. But I realized that I was being drained because I'm like, dang, I'm doing so much for everybody else. But what about Steve? Who got Steve? You know? And so it put me in the mindset of like, all right, eventually I got tired of feeling it. I got tired of feeling drained. So I started putting myself first. And then when I started putting myself first, it was more of a tug of war battle because I was coming from so used to being the superhero for everybody to now put myself first. But now I put myself first, now I got feelings of guilt. You know, because now I'm not worrying about nobody else, you know. But that was one of those things, like, eventually I had to understand, like, it's okay to sit back and put the same energy that you put into everybody else, to put that into you. But you have to be okay with that. And if other people wasn't okay with that, I had to understand for myself, like, that's not your problem, you know.
It's not about
and it
you.
doesn't mean that, it didn't mean that I didn't love nobody no less, but it just had to come to a time as to where I had to put myself first. So when I did do that for myself, it was like a big revelation for me. It was one of those things, light bulb and all. I'm seeing different circumstances in my life. You know, I felt a lot much better. I didn't feel like I had this big chip on my shoulder, you know, a weight on me. But at the same token, even to this day, at times that feeling will creep in, and then I'm like, dang man, I hope XYZ is okay, or you know, let me check in. But then I have to check back in with myself and like, how do you feel about doing this right here? How is that gonna make you feel? Is that gonna put you back in that same space? And if it do, you just reevaluate it. So,
It's like when I used to work, I worked a lot. Like, no matter if I was working for someone, I mean, I was like, you know, the key employee, right? And so I felt like if I don't do it, it's not gonna get done, you know. And so I just carried like the weight of those jobs on my shoulders, and it didn't even matter what kind of job it was, because even when I worked at McDonald's, I was the same way. Like, if I don't get this stuff done, it's not gonna get done, you know. And then at some point you realize, you know what, this job is gonna continue to exist. This company is gonna continue to move on with or without me. And it's the same with these people. Like, we think we have to do X, Y, and Z, and we're running ourselves ragged. But they gonna find a way, you know, because they're creators too. And so a lot of times we think we have to do for them or else they won't be okay. But sometimes when we're more focused on, let me find my happiness and my joy, they gonna work their stuff out some kind of way. It's gonna work out. They're gonna continue to live.
It'll be just fine.
And to touch on what y'all saying real quick is, what I've learned too is when you feeling like that about somebody, you basically telling them you don't believe in them. And who wants to feel like that? So it's like, I used to feel the same way, you know, about my brother. I'm like, man, I gotta make sure he like good. But then I'm like, hold on, I'm saying he can't do it on his own. Like, I'm saying he ain't no good without me. Like, no, and that's not true. So it's like,
and then especially when you do have those thoughts about someone, like how strong your power could be over them to actually believe you. You believe that they cannot accomplish something on their own, that you have to always kind of be their crutch or their captain sable. And they're so used to that, having that, always have that helping hand, and then you get so burnt out, tired, I can't even do your hair, and you're like, who is going to help me? who is gonna help me? Like, who is gonna help me? And then you realize I'm the me helper. Y'all gotta help y'all me's. I'm gonna help me right now. And I have to let go of your hand. Like, you're gonna have to ride this bike without the training wheels, babe.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I told my mama. Like, mama, you gonna need to believe in me because I am going to be a key horticulturalist. Okay.
Love it.
I'm gonna make it in this world.
I think all of y'all just hit on something that I think is super key though, which is dang it, man, I lost that.
Captain
Going on out of there.
You say you
Oh, I got us.
You were talking about that earlier.
Oh yeah, no, I got it. Okay, yeah. So I think something that all of y'all said is key is like I had to, because I used to be a victim of it too. Well, not victim, but feeling the word was something else. I used to be prey to this as well, where I would do things and think that the person needed me to do it, but I realized I didn't even need to change what I was doing. I needed to change why I was doing it. So I could do those same things, but I needed to change, like the putting me first, like was in the same actions, but I needed to value myself in those actions as I was doing it. So now instead of using the podcast as an example, instead of like, oh, I need to record because like, if I don't show up to record, we're just not gonna record. It's no, I need to record because I like the feeling that recording brings me. And so as a result, all the better products come as a result of that. So I think the focusing on yourself can even be done in the same actions, but it's the change in the thought that you're bringing into that.
But also sometimes like, because I think like sometimes, especially how like the world is changing, and we always kind of been like hand in hand, kumbaya, helping each other. But when you kind of let other people's hands go, now that you've gotten a little older, everyone's becoming more accomplished. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's having that feeling that you let my hand go and I did it. Look at me now. And I'm like, look at you now. And I can be happy for you. And never say like, look at me. I'm riding. And it's a positive thing. And then people remember like, I remember all those times you did help me and how much I thought I needed it. I did it, and I want to say thank you. It takes a while for some people maybe to humble themselves to be like, thank you for everything that you did. Thank you for all the meals you cooked me when I wasn't going to cook for myself or for my clothes. And you be like, it's okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't even need you to be that person for me. Knowing that you know how to be that person for yourself now is helping me. That helps me, you know what I'm saying? That's like kind of sharing your joy, sharing your happiness with everyone. And we're able to know that we're like all independent and can do it, and we're getting it done, and that can be so great and so powerful within a group of people when you come to that.
I think something that can help a lot of people out too is when you are transitioning from like bringing the old into the new, is think about why did you stop doing the old things that you were doing in the first place. When you get to that awareness and you're thinking like, okay, well, why did I leave what I left behind, and thinking about where you're currently at in the present moment. So if you think about it, it's going to put you more in the space of, okay, now you're going to start thinking, all right, well, I know why I stopped doing what I'm doing or was doing, or why I left what I was doing behind. Now I'm in my present moment, so I'm moving towards my future instead of my, I'm not trying to bring
doubling back.
Yeah.
No more doubling back.
I think like if you take the time out to just get to that awareness, sometimes that can really push you more forward instead of bringing it all baggage along with you.
And I think to piggyback off you, I think for me, I kind of internalize it like, okay, I know I can create whatever it is I want. And so I simplified. I'd be like, well, do I want this to affect me for the rest of my life? Like, I just ask myself that, and my answer is no. Like, I don't want this to be something that's just like affecting how I act for the rest of my life. Like, in my head, that make me think the rest of my life. I'm gonna
That's a long time.
like, no. And so I know that I am more than that. I know that I have the ability to create the life I want, and I can change my story at any time. I can tell myself this happened for me, not to me. Like this, all these things led me to this point right here where we recording. Like,
Okay.
you know, and I can, and when I look at it like that, it changes things for me.
You're right. I like that because not to like both of y'all kind of like y'all touched on the whole like getting to the place where, but getting to the place of recording so I can finish my statement. And I'm so used to I'm new. I've only been on like I think like one other time. Don't make me laugh. It's been a minute since I've seen her, but I had to really think about it because I'm like Rodney was going to school, and he said.
Thinking, listening to what you were saying, I can say that when I left the old, one of my biggest habits, it was a bad habit, I used to smoke cigarettes at one time, right? I used to smoke for years. You're talking about from 18 through my 20s, right? And I always said, eventually I'm gonna quit. Eventually I'm gonna quit. And then every time I said I was gonna quit, I always tried so hard to actually quit. And it never worked for me. And so eventually, not even thinking about it, right? I actually stopped. And this was like a year later, and I'm like, wow. So, wow, I didn't try. I wasn't forcing myself to stop. I just actually stopped. And so in the present moment, I might have associates that smoke or whatever, but at one time, when I was trying to stop and I'm around them, it made me want to go ahead and, smoke with them. Now I'm like, that's not what I can be around you and not ask you, hey, let me smoke with you. Or, exactly. but I just learned that that's not what I want. That's not the feeling of how I want to feel, and I'm not there anymore. So, like we all said, it's more of how we feel. We know what we don't like or what we left in our past. We left it there for a reason, and we're in our new because we want to experience something new in our life. So I think that's the biggest thing for all of us, just experiencing something new. Yeah.
So I like what you just said. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to articulate this well, but you were trying to stop and you couldn't, but then when you weren't trying, you did. And I always think of this thing that Deepak Chopra said in his book, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. He said, grass doesn't try to grow, it just grows. Birds don't try to fly, they just fly. And so when I think about that, it's certain things that, like if I wanted to pick up a pencil, I'm not going to try to pick up a pencil, I'm just going to pick it up. And so like reconceptualizing the things in your life. Like you could say, I'm going to try to stop smoking, or you can just stop. Right? Like I said, I don't know if I can articulate it well.
That makes sense.
But
No, I get what you're saying.
Like, so a lot of times we always say, this is hard. This is going to be hard. This is going to be a challenge. I don't know how to do these things, etc. So we're already putting that out there before we then go try and do the thing. And so that's, in essence, that's like an old feeling, the old experience. The experience is, this is not something I'm able to do.
Right.
And then we take that forward.
Right.
And then we aren't able to do it. Where at any time we can realize that we are a creative force. And at any time we can decide, I'm just going to pick up a pencil. And so that really takes a perspective shift.
Yeah, I get that because like even when you were saying like, oh, I would try and not be around other people and they would like influence me. And I feel like sometimes you'll just like think about like when you tried something because it didn't work and you knew you failed, but then when you just do it, it got done. You know what I'm saying? You completed it. You completed it and you didn't think about the try part. You didn't think about, I'm going to have to try. It's just I'm going to get it done.
And you see yourself differently. You see yourself in a new way. And I used to always wonder, like, pretty much the whole conversation. Like, I'm gonna try to do this, I'm gonna try, and I could never do it. But then it would like be a day, a moment in time would come when I'm like, I'm going to do it. It's like I make a decision, I decided, and then once I made that decision, then it happens, and there's no more. Yeah.
That was it.
Absolutely.
All right, well, thank you, Stephen, for bringing this topic of not bringing old experiences into the present. Was that it?
Yeah.
Something like that. Yes, old feelings, bringing old feelings into new experiences, and just really finding ways to just remember who you are in the moment. At any time, you can flip the script, remember who you are, remember your power, and just stand in it.
Mm-hmm.
So until next time, this is Arvette.
And this is Steven.
Special guest, sorry.
Teron.
Right.
Bye, y'all.